with the best father and son team on the internet. It's time for Homie and the Dude.
What is up, everyone? This is Homie and the Dude, the father and son TTRPG and MMA podcast in the home of the best NPCs in the entire flippin' multiverse. We are here today and honored and delighted to have Amber, the SpaceJamber, with us. Amber is a prolific TTRPG community member, contributor, and general badass. And is also known as, this is probably the coolest nickname there is.
Coolest nickname out there. Coolest nickname out there for sure.
The TTRPG Swiss Army knife. Amber, how are you?
I'm all right. Oh my God. No, I'm blushing literally. Yeah, no, I'm great. Great. I wasn't expecting that introduction, so I'm very beside myself. Hi.
I was practicing all morning.
I was gonna say Tom's been in the mirror all morning doing that.
Actually no, but it was a good one.
Dude, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so happy to have you on. Like I said to you before we started recording, been looking to have you on for ages. And do you know what? I'll start off by asking you a question that I'm quite interested about, and it relates to you blushing, which is quite nice. You mentioned that you're blushing and blush as a whole. I know that you're quite into your makeup and you do that. And every time you're on stream, you have such amazing makeup and get up. Talk us through, what is your routine? What's your go-to makeup routine in the morning? What are you always hitting it with the lipstick? Because you always look amazing on streams. Talk us through some of that. I'm genuinely so interested, please.
Oh no. Okay. So actually it really started because I oh my God, this is not a question I was expecting. Holy shit. Okay, great. So this goes back years to when I first first lived next to an Ulta, and it was the first time I ever had flexible funds. So I just spam bought everything at Ulta, back when I worked at the Geico call center a million years ago. And then when I moved to Geico corporate and there was a Sephora right next to the office, I was like, okay, well, I guess now that I have even more money with this promotion, I guess I'm gonna go spend all of that at the Sephora next to it. And then I realized I had a giant hoard, and I was like, fuck, I'm not really using a lot. So and then I started working remote, and it was, I need something to make me feel like I'm a person, even though I'm not going into an office every day and encountering other people. Actually, the whole making sure I'm done up every day makes me feel like, okay, I'm ready to take on the day. I've put on, whatever I need. And also it helps me go through my hoard. I think I do have a running spreadsheet I have used. It helps me take stock of how much I've used up, so that I know, okay, don't fucking buy the rest of this. I've used $2,609 worth of makeup and beauty products this year, and that's just going through my hoard. So it's a working through really, really bad financial decisions and making sure that I'm actually getting my money's worth out of the thousands I know I spent. So
Nice. That is so cool. Thanks for watching this episode. We really appreciate you supporting Homie and the Dude.
Please hit us with the Holy Trinity, like our Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram. Just search @Homie and the Dude. It all really helps.
And you know what? It makes me wonder, because you mentioned, having some sort of routine to get you ready for the day virtually is important. It is important for all of us. And I just remember going back to my days when I played sports and having a routine of what my favorite socks were, what my favorite shoes were, that type of thing. Do you have any routine as you're getting ready for when you're stepping into a character during whether it's a one shot or in a campaign, certain things to get your mindset right, to get your headspace ready to go? Anything come to mind that way?
Yeah, actually quite a bit. I mean, the makeup does help. I'm not gonna lie. I do try to at least emulate the kind of colors that the character would be wearing if I can't like,
Yeah.
warp,
100%.
Yeah.
But so that helps. And then also I'm just one of those that makes playlists for my characters.
Okay.
Amazing.
So unless it's a one shot and like it's a character I made up on the spot, but like if it's for for my Fat Magic campaign, like specifically I have this one playlist that's all like I'm playing like a oh my god, Order of the I'm testing essentially, it's like the honey cleric, the beehive cleric for Fat Magic. Yeah.
Awesome. Sick.
Yeah, it's great. And so I have this one like Spotify playlist that's like basically like badass women, here to but also with like gentle healing vibes, because of course she's like the cleric. So yeah, that helps me get into Miel's mind space of like, okay, I'm listening to Doja.
I'm embracing my deeper inner Mother Nature woman as
exactly.
I love
God
that.
Is a woman, yes.
Yeah. Like I'm not sure if that's just like a typical go-to, but it's the first time I've heard of it as a prep. Yeah, and I love it. I absolutely love that, because I don't, that's not something I've used before, but I could definitely see how that would, just getting into.
I've heard of it in the acting community for sure. I know that some friends of mine who are actors and stuff, yeah, definitely use it to prep themselves. Like a lot of people that I know who aren't main characters, actually, a lot of people who are like either secondary characters or like extras and stuff will often at least my friends have said build themselves a little bit more of a story and give themselves a little bit more of a character through music and things like that, so that when they do embody a smaller role, it's still just as big for them in that moment, and it means that their acting is just as on point for that reason. So I think I love that as well. I really love
that. It's almost like instant, isn't it? As soon as you hear a song that you vibe or that your character vibes with, it's instant, right? You know kind of what that, it's like an emotion, it's more of an emotional preparation than some sort of mental, like I'm going through a list of different things. It's like it flips me in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. And Bodhi, you hit the nail on the head. Like that's exactly where it came from. Like I failed actor, whatever. I was a theater major for all of 2 semesters, and then I said fuck this. But like I also was doing college radio at the same time. So I mean, like music has always just kind of been at the core of what I do. I just don't have an opportunity to talk about it a lot actually in TTRPG space. So
do you know what? I'm right there with you. It's something that I was talking to someone about the other day, and I wanted to ask a question, but I wasn't sure if it was the right space to do so. I'll ask you the question in just a second. Yeah. But for me, like music has encapsulated my life throughout my entire life, from when I was a young child all the way through to an adult. Like I have changed music tastes, I've grown, I've altered, and it, like you said, for me, music makes scenes. Like there's a reason why every movie that I love has a fucking amazing soundtrack, is because without that soundtrack or that composition to that moment, it's I mean, like a great one just off the top of my head is like Aragorn standing in front of the hobbits in the last Lord of the Rings, being like, you bow for no man. That moment has so much gravitas because of the music that has led to that moment, and then actually the pause in music at that moment, and you're like,
yes,
that's what emotive stuff really comes from. So I fully agree with you on that. Music, especially within a creative space, I cannot write without music on. I struggle to read without music on. And when I play games like TTRPG games, soundtracks are almost vital. My question to you though is, and people have asked me throughout my life, would I rather be, would you rather be blind or deaf? And for me, I've always been like, I would rather lose my sight, because if I couldn't hear like music, I would think I would go crazy. I think that I think I might just be tipped over the edge. So do you feel similar about that, or are you still banking on not walking into things?
No, actually, it's funny because I have fucked up my hearing, but that's just my own doing, because in the before times when I went to concerts every other week, I would stand like near the front, and that's fucking up. And so I have fucked up my hearing. I would love to have that back.
100%.
But so there's that. And then also, I mean, there's just something, I mean, I think it's just growing up in choir, growing up in musical theater, growing up in like, just, I mean, it's touched everything that, like, you know, I think if I were to lose my sight, it would be fine. There's still a lot that you can do. At least that for my work specifically, I can do. But you know, for sound, that would, you know, okay, don't cry, you know, like can't hear my husband's voice ever again, can't hear like my cat ever again, you know, like it's stuff like that. So gross. I'm gonna cry. Thanks. I appreciate y'all a lot.
All right. As I say, thanks, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a good podcast, and we will see you soon.
But I don't want to get like too much into it, because like there's also like disability, and I don't want to like I don't want to.
No, of course. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I wanted to ask you, as part of your prep and stuff like that, you talk, you know, about music, and I know one of your other great loves is knitting. Are you knitting stuff for your characters? Are you making like special gloves? Are you like, does that come as part of any of your prep, or not at all?
Holy shit, this is the most unique interview I've ever had. No, I'm not. but I'm not. It takes a fuck ton of time to make something. And like, I can't tell you how many, like, the process of knitting is really just like starting and stopping 12 times before you finally fucking get into a groove. And I'm on that now. I'm picking up the needles for the first time in almost a year to knit a blanket. So it's a lot.
Big blanket? Baby blanket?
Oh, big blanket. Big blanket.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay. The pattern's in my bedroom, but it's basically like a big, like chevron, like rainbow blanket. So, so it's going to be really intricate, and I'm sure my husband will not miss the box of yarn I've been lugging from room to room. It's like literally like a big, like, you know, 1 foot wide by like 2 foot long box of just yarn. It's hilarious. I mean, but it that also started as something that I was doing like in college to like soothe anxiety, and like, you know, just because, or like if I was having like some kind of moment where I couldn't focus, but I learned that like if I had something to do with my hands, you'll probably notice that I'll like, you know, since I don't have my knitting with me, like I'll be picking stuff up and down. To focus, like I need to have something in my hands at all times, and so that helped. And then also, in the call center, when I was working in the call center, and like I had these 12-hour shifts of like just being on the phones and being yelled at by people angry about their car insurance, you know, like the soothing thing for me was like working on a washcloth, or like, you know, working on like a hat, or like an infinity scarf or something. So it was like that soothing tactile thing. So for some, I've just been so busy with like other things this year that my hands have found like, you know, soothing things elsewhere. I think mostly with dice. So that's kind of
nice. That's a hefty bag.
Oh, damn. Damn, Laura Bailey, calm down. Jeez.
Oh, here we go.
Oh shit, son. Holy crap, that's a lot of dice.
Nice.
Amazing. Do you know what? I fully agree with you in the fiddling, like with things and having stuff in your hands. So something that, you know, people who have listened to our show know, I'm heavily dyslexic, and I also have a bit of dyspraxia, and, you know, a little bit of dyscalculia and all that kind of stuff, you know. So I'm on the spectrum for sure, as is my mom. And for me, I learned in school, like a big part of my schooling was like teaching me how to deal with a lot of that stuff, and taking like making tools to like overcome that. And the whole tactile thing is so important. By the way, I also worked in a call center. Ha ha ha. And
It
I
sucks,
learned how to
doesn't
juggle.
it?
I learned how to juggle in a call center because doing
What?
something with my hands. So I would literally juggle while I was on a call because that was the way that, like you, with the rhythm of knitting and stuff, for some reason, I could then do my script because though I wasn't a like customer service person like you, I was a charity fundraiser. I could do my script and like converse with someone and actually hone my improvisation skills, which come back to TTRPGs, you know, and do all that stuff while juggling. And it was because I was able to have something in my hands that I could focus. Same with like when I was in school listening in class, we were given, I'm not sure if this is a thing in America, but we have something in UK called finger fidgets. And they're like a long like string of almost like hooked like joints that have like a little knob on each end that then pop together and they create a circle basically. And they're like different textures. Some are like fuzzy, some are knobbly, some are like rubbery.
Oh.
And you can like bend and play with it. And like, so literally in class, my school gave me one of those and I would sit under my desk and just like run that through my fingers, like some prayer beads, like a freaking monk from Tibet. And yeah, it's so helpful. It really allows, I think, people who maybe have, you know, anxiety, you know, things like Asperger's and like autism and stuff, it allows us to quieten down all the chaos into like just one place as opposed to it being like, rah, you know, all this noise, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real. That's a big like to my husband's chagrin because it's so noisy, but like that's why because it's like that tactile, the like you have the sound that confirms that yes, you have pressed a key. Like it feels so good. Like it's like next level. It helps me out with my productivity when I'm like editing games for people or whatever. It's just like, okay, cool. Like I definitely know that I'm working on it because I have this like confirmation at my fingertips. So literally, so it's like, I don't know.
Do you know what? I also love your aesthetic. Sorry, go for it. No, sorry. I was just going to compliment your keyboard and your headphones and the way that everything's pink and like all matching and stuff. I noticed a couple of streams ago and was like, oh, it's all matching. I was like, I see it now.
Well, I work in branding professionally. So yes. It all pulls through.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, those make sense.
Yeah.
Well, let's go. No, go ahead. Finish that. So you work in branding. We were talking about colors.
No. I was okay. That's what it is. Reasons why I'm getting tested. So I'm waiting for my health insurance to kick back in so that I can't with my new employer so that I can get tested for ADHD because I got tested as a kid and like then I was like I went through a phase where it's like it's not ADHD, it's depression, and then I realized it can be both. So
yeah, 100%.
So now I'm like, okay, let's give me my health insurance card so that I can go talk to a psychiatrist and get this computer.
Yeah. And just get a little bit more like
support,
perspective, understanding, all those things. And once we demystify something, once we take the unknown away from it and say, okay, this is what it is now. I understand what it is now. Now I can pull in some tools. I can pull in some other mechanisms to help me, function at a level that I feel like is whatever it is, more productive, better well-being, happier, all the different things that that we value.
Yep.
But let me ask you this: we were talking about branding, and this is your day job.
Yeah.
However, when I look at your social profile persona, from my perspective, it looks like it's very, to whatever degree this is true or not, let us know. But it seems like there's an element of thought behind it. There's an element of presentation behind it. So I'm wondering how much of your professional life and the knowledge that you've accrued through understanding what really effective branding is through your work has been carried over to your social efforts.
Oh, like it's a lot of it. Like most of it. I mean, but really, I mean, if I can kind of give some well, no, of course, that's why you have me on here, to give some background. So like this, you know, I never, when I hold on, when I started this year, I, you know, was never on Twitter. I never did anything. I like ran only like a TTRPG one shot Discord with me and my friends, right? Like that was it. But I went through a lot of like bad emotional trauma this year that made me, you know, I started like, I don't know, seeking out like other communities. And so that's where I found TTRPG Twitter, right? And when I started that, I had no idea that like I would be where I am today, like 6 months down the road, right? So when I started finding, like when I started like talking on Twitter, you know, professionally, I knew the way to gain traction and the way to, you know, gain a following is, again, to just identify what your strengths and weaknesses are, what makes you unique, what makes you stand out among the crowd. And I knew, like, you know, I have this, I kind of had, because I was in the background, you know, of just like small account, you know, I was able to like see that there weren't that many people like talking about like the importance of like finding out what your unique voice is, and especially for marginalized communities. And there weren't that many people that really understood like marketing basics. I hate to say it. So, you know, that's when I really took it upon myself to be like, okay, actually I have all of this knowledge from like being in employer branding for the last 5 years. Like, let's just see what happens. Let's start sprinkling in some, like, you know, some of my professional experience in and see what happens. And here we are. Here we are. Like, you know, once I, you know, started having those threads of like, oh, here's how you like really start making your self promo Saturday copy stand out among the crowd, or like here's some simple tweaks you can do to make your graphics look, you know, a little bit more cohesive. You know, that's when I really started picking up traction and like got, you know, Maka noticed me, Senpai noticed me for the first time, and yeah, and that's, you know, from there, that's really where I started like taking off, was when I was on Unchapped the first time. So yeah, I mean, and also I just love a good aesthetic. Like I saw this chair and I just was like, all right, I'm gonna build everything at my desk around my chair. But yeah, so I mean, it's you know, is it gaming the system a little bit, but you know, it's using that knowledge to help others as well, because I mean, the things I've learned, I've had to learn on the fly at work over the last 5 years, and like the simplest of tweaks can make a huge difference in seeing somebody take off. Like Bards and Brews, like Alex and I are like buds, and so you know, they came to me like, I don't know what I'm doing, how can I, you know, what can I do to like improve things? And so I was like, oh yeah, just, you know, tweak this a little bit, you know, like focus on like some of the things that make your world interesting. And like you can see they've taken off like immensely. And you know, Play Nerd Allies is another one too that I've been working with, and they, you know, they starting to work with Kyle in a more professional setting and a friendship setting. You know, it's just like one of those things that it's just like, oh yeah, like if we make some like subtle tweaks, you can start to see everything just pew. And it's amazing how you can trick, you know, trick everyone on Twitter with one simple tweak. So,
but do you know what? I want to talk about a couple of things, because I think there's a lot of important stuff to unpack there for anyone who's new to the community, and also for Tom and myself, because I'll answer the first end, the end bit of what you said first, which is, shit, son, we need to have a conversation with you at some point. Let's have a talk.
Yes.
But on top of that, I think, you know, the first part that you mentioned, you talked about, you know, in the early part of the year, you know, you were going through some heavier emotional times and stuff like that. And I think you know, though I don't want to linger too long and deal with trauma or anything, but I do want to just, you know, talk about this in the fact that I think a lot of people were in a really hard place with with lockdowns and COVID and everything that's happened in the last, you know, year or two. And I think, like yourself, many people have found solace in the place that we are currently in. So I think if anyone does happen to stumble upon this video and isn't already part of our community, come be part of what is easily the best community to be part of, where people love you, people care for you, people support you, people give a fuck about what you have to say, even if you are fucking like nobody, even if you're a father and son sat in Bristol, you know, like it's one of those things where it's really beautiful. And this is a community that you should be a part of. One, especially, I would like to extend to those people who are feeling down about life and need new people in their life. If you have toxic friends, if you are struggling with a day job, if you are, you know, struggling in your relationship and you need an escape, whatever, we're here for you guys. And whether that be playing in our games or, you know, communicating with us on social media or on Discord or whatever it is, you know, we're here for you guys. And, you know, it's something that I hate social media personally. I'm biggest hater of social media. I also just like try and turn my phone on silent for like most of every day, because otherwise it just goes off constantly. And I'm like, but for me, like the one thing I really try and do, for example, in Unchapped, is really let people know, you know, as much as I can, that I'm seeing your work. I support what you do. Like I message Lex constantly, and I'm like, I love your Caltrop core. It is my favorite thing of 2021. Like you are like, so please don't, like, I can't tell you how many times like and like it's part of that thing where I like, it is beautiful and people should be a part of what we are doing. And I think, you know, what you said is really great. Furthermore, if you are new in the community and you need a bit of, you know, advice, things like that, that's another reason why. And it's so weird how, you know, a lot of people, when they first get into the community, I know Tom and I looked at other communities where it's seen more as a competitive place as opposed to a supportive place. And when we first stepped into the community, we were like, oh shit, we're going to have to, like, Jesus Christ, it's going to be fighting for scraps kind of thing. And what we soon realized is it's not even close to that. It's actually the complete opposite. And again, another shout out, you mentioned it as well, but shout out to Maka as well for being just I know that they have stuff going on in their life, you know, outside of this that is up and down. And I know they've got kids and, you know, they're running a million streams and, you know, doing the Unchapped. And all I have to say is, Maka, you are one of the greatest people in this community, and we're so thankful that you have invited us, like, and many others into this community, because we wouldn't be here without you, like, legit.
For real. Like, I mean, nope, this is advertising for Maka time. Like, I just, I remember, like, the very first time I was on Unchapped, and, like, the entire time, he was stressing, like, he was like, I you know, all I want to do is give other people who are struggling more than I am, who are marginalized more than I am, like, a platform for them to succeed. And I think, you know, the kind of folks he's pulling in to, you know, check these out and Unchapped, and, like, I mean, incredible. Like, talk about like practicing what you preach, right? Like, absolutely wonderful human being, does not deserve any of the hell that's happening, but, like, I gotta admire Maka so much.
Yeah,
yeah, what a good being. And that's, like, really minimizing it, but yeah, like, yeah, well, I mean, literally, well, I mean, and another person that helped me too, I mean, so, like, I'll say it, like, I was in the hospital, you know, for a psych hold at one point this summer, and I didn't think, you know, like, I kind of, you know, I disappeared for a couple days off Twitter, and, like, you know, after, when I got back, like, I was just like, hey, I'm okay. I know nobody follows me, or, like, nobody's, like, watching, but, like, you know, I'm okay. I was over, you know. And then the first person to check on me actually was Matthew from Abyssal Bruce. And that, like, sorry, my headphones just died.
It's okay.
And that made like a world of difference
Mhm.
to have
Yeah.
somebody that I was like really looking up to check on me to make sure that I was like okay and like breathing. And yeah, I mean, so this
Yeah.
community
Hey.
really for real, like I do not know where I would be without it. It has been so integral to like making me feel, you know, like I can come out of everything okay. But anyway, that's gross. I'm not. Oh God damn
No,
it!
it's not. It's
No,
not. It's not gross at all.
I was about to say.
Hold on 1 second. I
Thank you.
cannot hear you because my headphones died. 1 second.
Go for it. Go for it.
Select a speaker. Okay.
Yeah, and you hear us now?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
Amazing. I wanted to say, first of all, no, thank you for opening up how you feel and expressing yourself. Because look, as much as I love like all the podcasts that are out there, and dude, like there's super famous podcasts out there, but the reason why Tom and I do this is to connect with people and people who like actually, you know, want to share what they're talking about and share like, and I actually thank you for opening up. That's what we are all about here. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. We appreciate you feeling safe enough with us to do that. And just want you to know that from afar within our community, we support the hell out of you. We freaking love you. Like from afar, like I don't say it enough to you, but we freaking love you. And like, just know that you got another person in the corner. Shout out as well to Matt from Abyssal Brews as well, who is one of our biggest inspirations for the new magic items that we've been making. And I can't tell you how much, you know, we look up to Matthew and have talked to them and just appreciated them. So again, just another person who is, you know, absolutely incredible. I'm going to have to write in the description promo for Abyssal and Naka in the description. But they freaking deserve it. And it's true. So I want to ask you, because, you know, you at this point have got, you know, fingers in many pies of this community. You are, you know, helping many people with many aspects and doing lots across everything that you are doing at the moment, you know, with all these amazing people. You know, you're playtesting stuff for people. You know, you're in TTRPG streams, you're doing editing. What's your like love? What's your passion? Because I know you do it all. But I guarantee there's one or two of them that you go, fucking God damn it, I've got to do some editing today. Or, you know, what are the ones that you live for out of the things that are in your Swiss Army knife? What are the tools that you like whipping out most?
Honestly, I mean, no, this is a tool. So the thing that drew me to TTRPG is just in general, and this entire space in general is the ability to really get in and do some great storytelling. Like, I mean, storytelling has been my core. You know, I say like, oh yeah, I grew up in musical theater. I grew up like, I mean, yeah, that was some fun stuff that I did, but I mean, like, what is musical theater but like another way of storytelling? You know, like it's everything I do is that. So, you know, I get into TTRPGs because it allows me to like escape the nonsense outside my window. It allows me to escape whatever like bullshit that I'm going through day to day and just become somebody else for a couple hours and pretend. I mean, not pretend, but like also just use those stories to work through my own like individual issues and my own story, you know? So, you know, at the end of the day, even though like I'm editing other people's work or, you know, I'm on other people's streams or, you know, playtesting other people's stuff, like I am helping them with their individual stories. And like, that's my goal, you know, like that's why I do what I do in branding, because like I specifically work in employer branding, which is essentially telling the story of the company through the stories of the associates. And how many times can I say the word story? But yeah, I mean, that's exactly, yeah, that's what drew me to this space. That's what drew me to, you know, anything that I do is just like being able to dig in and enjoy like a good character arc and you know, see people triumph, see people fall, you know, it's so fascinating to me. And yeah, that's as long, like as long as it helps others build a story or helps or it's just so good. It's just so good.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you
right there for that.
just to build on this, because I've been thinking about we've seen all the different stuff that you're involved in, and a lot of it is one shots or stepping into different campaigns for a temporary period of time, and we have done a little bit of that as well. And there's a certain dynamic that somehow works. I'm not sure if it's magically worked, but a certain dynamic that works when it works.
It's Arcana.
And a certain dynamic where it's one shots can tend to be a little bit less deep, a little bit more shallow in, you step in, you haven't formed your entire character, you haven't bonded with other characters. It's mostly a,
first time meeting people when you get on the Zoom call, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But the other side of it though is we have been on ones that have been great. Like they've been like
from the moment
very deep. You have the story arc in a one shot, like
exactly.
the full story arc. So here's and I've been thinking about like, what is it? Is it the story arc that the DM provides, or is it
the character progression?
Is
the one shot?
Could be the character progression. Could be also the this sort of the synergy between the different players and how that sort of. Any thoughts on that? Because I know you've been in a lot of them, and I'm sure you have a different spectrum of ones that you come away with thinking that was fucking awesome, and others that you're thinking, that was right.
Others you're thinking probably that was fucking shit. That was a waste of my hour. Jeez, that was painful.
What do you think makes a good one shot in terms of that thing we're looking for in full TTRPGs?
Well, I think part of it is because everyone knows that it has an end date, like it has an expiration date when the table, when the call ends. Everyone is, it really gets to the root of like the importance of collaborative storytelling, so that everyone is actually doing their best to collaborate and be involved, and tell the best story that they can within this allotted span that they have, because it's not likely that they're going to be returning to these characters unless, God forbid, they're like, hey, do you want to play that again? So like, I that's what I like about it. It one shots allow you to go like balls to the wall, absolutely absurd. Well, I mean, like if you want to play that type of game, or like completely emotionally invested, over the course of like 3 hours or 4 hours or whatever. And like that's, and I think that's beautiful. Like I think that's exactly what draws me to them. Also, I'll be real. It's the, I'm like, it's like the Critical Role effect where like I sit and I'm like, oh my God, this whole campaign is like 70 episodes. I can't, and they're all 8 hours long. I can't. So there's that.
I was going to ask you, because you do a lot of, well, I wanted to ask you a little bit about check Ds, because I know you've done a lot of stuff with check Ds, and I know one due to relationship with Maka and whatnot, but also I wanted to ask, is there a reason why, you keep going back? Is it the synergy in that group that you are like vibing with it? Like, what is it about going back to check Ds? Because it's definitely, I've looked through your appearances this year and it's the one you've appeared the most on for sure.
Yeah, well, okay, so part of it, yes, is the relationship with Maka and being friends and everything with him, but like and the other part, I mean, it's three-pronged. It's relationship with Maka, second, like because of the job that I had previously, like I could like sneak away for an hour or two at the end of the day, and like I'm online at work, but I'm not really. I'm playing D&D, but like I haven't like felt that vibe out for my new job yet, because I've only been on it for a week.
Of course,
So, but also it's that team. Oh my God, so they're. You want to talk about people who are unafraid to like tell a wild story? That it's check these out. Like I mean the even just. Like Maka has like a harebrained idea and says, you know what, let's make this happen within a four-parter, like that the Knights of Uranus, that we did a little while back, and the coming to folks and saying, hey, I want one character, like there's an idea for this one character where they're a changeling, and so every week, the character comes back, but it's a different player, which is what like one of the characters I did. But it's still the same class. It's still the same, like, they just kind of like go through different subclasses of the class. And so, yeah, I mean, I rotated with, it was Chelsea, from Chelsea Larson Art, Avalanche, and oh my God, I do not know the other person. I don't know. Brassic? I think it's Brassic. And we just rotated through the annals of KYL, insert vowel here, because that's how you differentiated the different, like, we had Kyla, Kylo, Kylie, Kyle. So
very clever.
But I mean, like, check these out. Like, they're able to tell like expansive, like really immersive Lord of the Rings style campaigns within like 4-part bits, so you never feel, again, it's like they know that there's an expiration date on it, and so that allows them to really get into the storytelling. Sorry, I talk a lot. No, don't minimize myself. Okay, sorry.
No, I was about to say no, please. That's the whole reason we've got you here, so you can talk a lot. If you weren't talking a lot, it would be a problem, because we would be talking a lot, and no one wants to hear us talk. So
I'm anxious. Okay. I've been socialized to minimize myself as a woman.
Well, you shouldn't, because you're freaking awesome. And do you know what? So the Check These Out is, an amazing stream, and it's really great. I know you have also begun dipping your toe within the Twitch community, and digging into that kind of stuff. One thing that I love that you do, and I just really appreciate the way that you do it as well, is your TTRPG study hall. I wanted you to just have a little bit of space to talk about your TTRPG study hall and break down why you do 20 minutes of on, 5 minutes of off. Why that system, and why is that working for you in this kind of space? Talk me through the whole concept and give people the rundown of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do the TTRPG study hall because, again, I've been working remotely since 2018, so pre-pandemic. And the thing I miss most about like working in an office is like I've learned this phrase recently. It's called body doubling, where like you have somebody with you that's doing the same thing you are, and it makes you feel like, okay, great, we're all in this together. And and so when I was looking into like starting my Twitch, I realized, okay, I have this workload of like stuff with clients, and also I like this, some of the things that I had been like watching during my day job, if I wasn't listening to music, it was like these recordings of people studying live, having a productivity stream like on YouTube or on Twitch or whatever, and like, holy shit, it helped. And I noticed there wasn't like a space for it in the TTRPG space at all, but I know everyone's working on something all the time, and we're in a time where you can't run to a WeWork anymore, or like Starbucks is closing the seating areas or whatever. So I wanted to have that space for people to come together and like feel like there's a collaborative space. I mean, like I had like Hope and Dungeon Glitch. I'm not name dropping. It's just like, the wonderful, the wonderful folks you can find in my chat. People, but like people with big names that are just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to bounce ideas off of the people in chat right now. Like it's, that's great. So there's the reasoning behind that. Why I do the 20 minutes on, 5 minutes off. It's called the Pomodoro Method, actually. And it's kind of, it's based around the idea of like one of those old tomato timers. Where, if you allow yourself time to have dedicated focused work where you only focus on working, and then you reward yourself with like that little break, giving your mind that break, it really, really ups productivity in the long run. It makes you feel like you've actually accomplished something. And so you're not just like, all right, I'm sitting down and working and I'm not, I'm just going to power through. Like for folks like me who are neurodivergent and like you, Bodhi, you know,
Yeah.
like you need that little bit of like serotonin of like, oh yeah, cool. Like
Yeah.
I've hit that checkpoint.
Totally.
So that's why I do that. You can vary the Pomodoro method a little bit to be like 30 minutes on, 10 minutes off, or like 25 minutes on, 10 minutes off, or whatever. But like that, I've, dabbled in it, and, and that I know for that, like, that's what works for me. So yeah.
It's great. It's no, here's the thing. Also, just for people out there, what days of the week are you running that at the moment, or when are you starting it back up after the holiday season for people?
Oh no, I mean, I'm doing it. So I do it every Tuesday. I'm sorry if you can hear the sirens. Okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
Again, I live in Washington, D.C., 2 miles from the White House. So it's Siren City, baby. So yeah, I do it on Tuesdays. Just because I don't know, like I was thinking about like what the fuck is happening outside my house? Sorry.
Goddamn motorcade again.
Listen, when it was the previous guy, yeah, frequently.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was kicking around the idea of like TTRPG Tuesday and like, doing alliterations and stuff like that. And then that's why it landed on Tuesdays. And then I was just like, no, the TTRPG Tuesday is so overused. What is, again, going back to branding, what is some like cute, quirky little thing that people can like know exactly what's going on when they hear it? Oh, TTRPG study hall? Cool. Like, I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah. We've all been to study hall. We've all been to fucking study hall. So, like, yeah, totally. And I think it's one of those things that, again, like you said, we're all sat, like, I know I'm sat often, like, I'll wake up at like 4 a.m. with a crazy idea and I'll like rush downstairs and be like, I need to write, kind of thing. And, we're all sat in our dressing gowns at different times, writing and it's nice to be able to have a place where you can come get together and, chat to people, hang out, and just, and for me, when I've attended, I actually typically aren't super active in the chat, just because I like to like get in the zone and like be. Yeah. But I love listening to it, and I love hearing what's going on in the background. I love hearing all the stuff that you're saying and that you're talking about and that everyone else is working on. Because weirdly, something that I've begun realizing more as a DM, and I think I have like 2 or 3 sayings now that I kind of, as a dungeon master, like live by. That I really strongly believe in. And one of them is that a dungeon master is only as good as his obscure references that he can make. And I think truly it's so like honest in of that, like, and what I'm realizing is I need to read, as much as I, dread Wizards of the Coast content, I also know that I can read, if I read their books, I will have so much more ideas and so much more things that I can dig on. If I read, The Name of the Wind, which is a book that Tom and I are working through at the moment, if I can, bash my way through that. And for me, throughout my whole life, I use movies and games because that's been my biggest like source of information up until this point. But now I'm really starting to dive into more of like the TTRPG content space, because I'm now finding myself referencing like places within the TTRPG space, and it's valuable. It's like, I can't explain how key it is. And one of those places is the study hall, where I can hear ideas other people are thinking. I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking genius. I'm like, oh my God, that's absolutely incredible. I'm like, I need to write this down. I'm like, I'm going to use this at some point. This is fucking great. And it's also, like I said, it's just one of those places where you then can really grow. And like you said, it's that you called it. What did you call it? The double body doubling. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I think that's so true, man. Like it's almost like when you're in the trenches, if you're like in a hole digging, you're like, this fucking sucks. But if there's a guy next to you, you're like, hey, this sucks together, right? And they're like, yeah, yes, it does. And so I really, really feel that. I think it's a really nice way to look at it all, and a really nice kind of just safe space for everyone. Safe space. That's, it's cool. And no one's stealing stuff from each other. It's not a malicious space. It's just a space to be like, look, guys, we're here to work together, help me. Like, you know, which is rare, especially in create like copyright the climate that we live in today, which is very sad, but you know, is what it is.
Well, one of the things that I like about it, I mean, and something I was testing, it was not this week, but the week before, it was like having a co-host with me, because again, like having that idea of like having somebody else on screen with me that I know I'm working with, but also like we can help each other live. So it's not just me talking into the void. It's like me having a conversation with somebody else. So I had Lexi at Black Girl Mage on with me last week. And she was like world building while I was like editing and doing stuff. So I mean, and she was just, you know, there were moments where she was like, oh fuck, I'm stuck. I don't know. Like I have these ideas, but I don't know how to bring them to fruition. And so, you know, she would like ask in chat or like, you know, bring them up to me. And so like we world builded, what's the past tense of that? World built together. We world built together, like, and that's just the like what kind of space exists out there for that? No, I mean, but that's also what I love about the TTRPG community as well, is like, you know, yes, are we all competing with each other on some level? Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have some people who are gonna be dicks about it more than others, like, no, you're doing the same thing I'm doing, and so I do not want to associate with you. But like I have noticed, like we're all working to be like friends too, because it's like, yeah, we're competing against each other, but like we see this opportunity to like, you know, this is a community that for some reason or another has been ostracized or, you know, felt othered. And so instead of, you know, fighting each other to create even more tension, you know, it's this moment of like collaboration and like friendship and celebration. I don't know, god, I'm sorry, it's the holiday season.
Not at all.
But
you're definitely tapping into something, because there are different energies, and again, I don't want to get too like woo-woo about it either, but like that competitive energy where everyone is, you know, cutthroat and everyone's crawling over each other and all of that, certainly I guess some people come out on top, but
no one feels good about it. No one on that spectrum feels good about that situation.
Most people feel dirty about just being in that space. But this other space where like you can like
dirty is exactly the right way to put it.
But like, you know, when you are able to create this energy, it's like this, you can, you know, and we do call it like, you know, self promo Saturday or TTRPG Rising, or, you know, these things. And I'm not even talking about like fucking, you know, the algorithm and shit like that. I'm talking about just like something else. It's an energy, right? And it's real, like, and you know,
it's palpable.
Yeah, you've heard about it in other instances. There's comedians that have come up together and they've supported each other, and now they're all at a space where they're just like, holy fuck, we knew each other when we couldn't even afford a hotel room, and now we're all like, you know, headlining these different big venues and stuff. And there was an element of one like bringing another on to you know, to open up for them, and this whole sort of support, and it feels like that here. And I think it's, if not anything else, it's just nicer. It's just like less exhausting to be, you know, in a fist fight with people every other day, not like metaphorically, as opposed to like linking arms metaphorically. Yeah. You know, there's just a different vibe to it.
Like, I mean, I call my, like, I'm extremely online. Like I am a child of the internet through and through. That is my third parent. But like, you know, so I've been a part of countless internet communities, and like the internet community I ran away from immediately before joining the TTRPG space was just as tenuous and like secretly barbed as you're talking about. Like it was, and I'll be real, it was a meme group on Facebook for a band, and like it was so like, I mean, that's even more niche than the TTRPG community.
Yeah.
But
what was the band?
What was the band?
What was the band? We need to know what the band was.
The Mountain Goats.
I've never heard of the Mountain Goats. On my list.
So, are they my favorite band? Yes, they're my favorite band. I've seen them 10 times. I've seen them 10 times. But anyway, sorry. So Yeah, the Mountain Goats meme groups can be vicious, and like it's a lot of like backstabbing each other because, oh, I want to be noticed by John Niel Senpai, and I'm like, y'all, you're making memes about songs that have been around for 30 years. Get out your ass. Anyway, yeah. So so moving to a space like this, where it's not as competitive. It's like, people actually want to see others succeed and grow. It's like, oh
Yeah. Yeah.
You're allowed to be friends and not fight each other. Like like we're not becoming friends so that we can secretly like backstab each other and work our way. I'm not bitter about this at all.
Dude, I am right there with you. Like, so for us, I'm in a skateboarding community massively, because I've been a skateboarder for like my whole life since I was like 8 years old. And the skateboarding community, I know, right? What gave it away? And you know what? They're so toxic. Like, dude, skaters suck so much. Like one I'm in. Like,
it's two sides.
There's support, but like majority of the skaters is a gatekeeping community for some reason. It's really like, even down to, dude, you're holding your skateboard wrong. And it's like, what? Like, how can anyone hold some? Anyway, and furthermore, for us now, a circle that we still run in because of some of the content that we make is the MMA community. And oh my God, I've never met such a like toxic masculinity based
macho culture.
I can't remember what it was the other day. So I remember we were doing a live stream recently. We're doing the last live stream, and there's a very famous female fighter called Amanda Nunez. She's like my favorite fighter in the world. She's double champion. She's POC. She's from Brazil. She's LGBTQ plus. Like, absolutely amazing, like role model that women should get behind for sure. And she's absolutely incredible. And Amanda Nunez was fighting, and some gentleman in the chat cared to inform us that though Amanda Nunez is 25 pounds heavier than me and like nearly half a foot taller than me as well, that I could still easily beat her in a fight. Me, who has never been in a cage fight ever. And I was like, and that's just an example of the community that we're in. It's like, dude, are you crazy? Like, what kind of world are you fucking living in, my man? Like, you're absolutely lost.
I'm looking at her Wikipedia right now. I want her to step on me. 1, 2.
legit. Please punch me. Please, it would be an honor for you to punch me.
Yeah, but also, like, she took out Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm. Like, these are names I know, and I'm not even into sports. Like,
exactly. She's an absolute beast. And so, like, that's what I mean, though. It's like there's these weird communities, and like you said, when you step into the TTRPG community, like Tom and I came in after being in the MMA community, like fists up, like, oh shit, we're about to, like, here we go kind of thing. And as we stepped in, everyone's like, oh, come in for a hug. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Like, hugs are full. Like, I'm all about that. And so I don't know, like, instantly we're just like, oh, thank God. This is like, this is so, and the amount of times Tom and I have gone, should we just stop the MMA stuff? Like, is it worth dealing with this community and like doing like, and we're like, is it worth it? And we keep coming back to the people who do come back to us, and people who are like regulars for our streams are amazing people. And we do have a really nice community out of the ones that fully understand the sport are level-headed like us. But geez, man, we definitely do have that conversation about like once every like 3 months, we're like, fucking MMA. Just like, God damn it.
And I think too, I think going on that too, you are the company you keep, right? And so if you are providing this alternative space for, the top, like the masculine macho nonsense culture, and allowing like a space for folks who are LGBT or are POC, and like allow them to know that they can come to your stream and not have to face that shit, I think that's worth its weight in gold. And that's kind of like the community. I mean, it's like, because I have my bad experiences with online communities, it's like, okay, what kind of space do I want to cultivate? How do I keep the people coming back for more? And it's, so I think, and also you don't want to like pigeonhole yourself into one spot. Like I am kicking around the idea of like streaming some of like the Sims that I play, or like doing a knitting stream for like, whatever. So like, so I think you should keep with the MMA stuff, and then just keep with your wholesome MMA community, because I'm sure that there are I know that there are other folks who are into MMA and they're just like, but I don't feel like I can get into it because it's scary. So
100%. And we really try to, like, I talking about that, I have a message that I say every stream.
You do, yeah.
Right before the main event, because it's when we always have the most people watching. Like it's always guaranteed. Like 5 minutes before the main event, we get a massive boost. And I always take that time to go, no matter where we are in the fucking world right now, no matter what your political beliefs are, what your race, your religion, your sexuality, your gender, we are all here right now watching a sport that we love. And isn't that fucking beautiful? Like, isn't that what's truly beautiful? We're not here to hate on each other. We're here to love, support, talk, hang out, and watch a sport that we love together. Like, and that's literally every time we get to the big car, I'm like, I have to say it every time. And we do really try and cultivate that space. We, especially for like a big one for us is foreign people. Like if we get Spanish people on, we try and talk to them in Spanish and stuff. And
we get a fairly decent Muslim community that comes on.
We have a huge Muslim.
We just want everyone to feel safe. We want and we will defend that space. We will absolutely.
We fight those people. When someone talks shit in the chat, we're like, Gregory, how dare you? Gregory 337.
Go back to the pub.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of here, Greg. But it's one of those ones where you like, you're right. And it's something that I think Tom and I are realizing within the TTRPG space, is that we want to create our own space for, not in of like a Maca and chapped Discord, but a place where, we can go, look, if you like what we do, this is safe for you. Come here and hang out with us, because we really want you here to hang out with us, and we really want to hang out with you. Something that I wanted to ask you based off of all of this that we've been talking about, and something, you're so inviting. You bring people in. There's a reason why we wanted you on. There's a reason why I go to your study hall. There's a reason why, as far as many, like I consume a lot of content, and streams that you are on are actually one of the few streams that I actually do watch. I'll let you know that as a little secret one. And I wanted to ask, you entice me so much, and you've given yourself a charisma score of 18. How did you achieve this charisma score of 18? And in contrast to that, when you play characters, do you try and do opposite to your personal ability scores, or do you try and reflect your personal ability scores?
Dang. Y'all pulled deep on that one. All right. All right, Nardwar. All right, cool. So I think it's because I grew up in like performing spaces, and there is an element of like, being able to like slip into the character and like, become someone other than Amber for a minute, but still like there's a bit of Amber that still leaks through. So I think that's part of it, where like I still want some element of me in there. But I have like, I think one of the benefits of me playing a lot of one shots lately is like being able to, look and, for D&D example, like in my home games, I almost exclusively play spellcasters, and that's just because like I've always been intrigued by like casting spells and stuff, and I grew up in a very Baptist home, very conservative upbringing, magic bad. So
okay.
But like, so that's kind of the background there. But like lately, when I have been playing D&D like one shots or whatever with folks, I'm like, ooh, but hitting things fun. Let me be a barbarian. Let me be a fighter. Like, so, but I always still try to have like that element of like chaos in there too, that, you know, I'll throw in like my Jenna Marbles voice that is really bad. Or oh my god, I think my favorite character that I just bring out for like the really psycho shit is like I have Tommy Wiseau, Wild Magic Barbarian, that I like to pull out for like for charity
What a
streams.
character!
Yeah.
What a character! Oh, hey, Mark. I love it.
Yeah, well, like, okay, so I used him for Bards and Brews, the Death Grind for charity a couple weeks ago, and the whole concept of like, you know, because Tommy Wiseau thinks he's like the greatest director of all time. He, like, in real life, he thinks he's the greatest actor of all time, and so the way I play him is like he thinks he's the greatest sorcerer of all time, but he's a barbarian. So like he's just really good at hitting shit. But when he goes into the rage, that's when the wild magic surge happens, and that's why he thinks he's a sorcerer.
Amazing. Incredible.
And
incredible.
So it's like, you know, it's those like weird twists that like allow me to bring that like quirky, charismatic thing, and it being able. You know, I have like you know, I have another fighter character, England Thundergrip, that I played a couple times on Saint Stella's stream, Adventures in Astery over the summer, and you know, she is a mountain dwarf with like the big bushy beard and everything, and she is a fantasy baseball player. And so she's just good at hitting things really hard, really well. And
That's
you know,
so
it's
cool.
Yeah, so she's not like, you know, she's not the smartest, but she's a lot of fun and she's really good at hitting stuff. So yeah, I guess it's that element of like, okay, what's the one thing about this character that I can like know that I can make a character that's compelling for people to watch, and maximize my charisma score of 18, because I know I didn't give myself 20 because I know that's presumptuous and that's mean, and I know I'm also not everyone's cup of tea. So it's fine.
Well,
I hope that
okay,
answered your question.
Yeah, you did. Massively so. Yeah.
You didn't give yourself a 20. Yet, let me just say this. I think it might be time for you to recalibrate your strength and constitution, because, you know, you said you were in a place in August, right? And maybe that's when you gave yourself those scores. But look, we are what we do. We're not what we did. And day after day and week after week and month after month, you've been super consistent. You've been really giving. You've been, you know, really, really like a torch in our community, and we really appreciate it. So you are what you do. And those scores have come up.
Well, I give myself low because I have a bunch of invisible disabilities that I don't really talk about. So I am sick like a lot of the time, and like massively immunocompromised. Like I have 2 autoimmune diseases and I take like an immunosuppressant. So like, yeah, like my con score is -5 because
Well, there's just two things. There's
mental constitution.
Well, there's
physical constitution.
There's spiritual constitution as well. There's like, you know, there's an energetic.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's an energetic constitution, and maybe I'm referring to, you know, there is an aspect of, okay, like there are some strength and constitution things that are real life, whatever, medical, physical things. But I guess what I'm referring to is the energy that you convey to us. Is super, super positive, super supportive, and like legit, like a net, you know,
beacon of hope.
It is like it's you know, like no bullshit. Like we really, really appreciate it, and that's, you know, and oftentimes we don't hear that very often, and when we do hear it, we don't let ourselves hear it. So I just want you to hear that you're a badass. We appreciate you, and it's not just like you've had a good week. You've had a good run that puts you in a place where accept that and believe that and build on it, because you're well valued, not just by us, but by a lot of people in the community.
Yeah. So gross. Geez.
Not to undervalue what you just said. That's just how my brain is like. Oh, no, I just got a bunch of compliments and I don't know how to process it.
Hey, I'll tell you what as well. I think something that I think I've said to Tom for a while, a big reason why I've wanted to get you on is because I felt across the internet connected to you in that many different things. And I know, you mentioned you have some invisible disabilities. I'm not personally dealing with invisible disabilities, but in terms of ailments, I feel you massively. And it's something I've heard you talk about before, actually, and felt really connected to you on, because I've actually had cancer twice myself and have dealt with some crazy shit in my life. And I really it's something that you have mentioned once or twice before. And I just want you to know that when you have mentioned that, I have been someone who has been listening, and it's meant a lot to me as someone across the internet, that when you've been strong about that stuff, it's made me feel strong about that stuff. So I just want you to know I appreciate you again, from what Tom said, across the internet to you. Oh, look at all of us. Jesus Christ, what an amazing podcast. This has literally been, I can't tell you how happy, as much as it's tears, I can't tell you how happy this has made me, because like I said, you're just awesome. And it's just such a pleasure to actually be this vulnerable with anyone over the internet, and just someone within the community. So I love you from here to the end of the earth. And I appreciate the characters that you play and what you do for us, and you coming on today and talking to us and just spending the time with us. It's been truly the biggest honor to get to know you over the last year. And then actually, I'll say this as we round off this podcast. This is our last podcast of season freaking 2. Yay! And we are so freaking proud and honored to have you on to be our final guest of season 2. So thank you for honoring us with this today and giving us the chance to talk to you. It's been more than an honor. It's been more than a pleasure. It's been a delight.
Well, Bodhi, and Tom, both of you, thank you so much for this. I mean, of course, y'all have been one to watch for real, but like in terms of the personal stuff, like, going back to sharing stories, it's at the core of everything. Oh God, my voice is breaking so hard.
You're all good. We're all over the place. It's all good. It's all good.
It's giving something that people can look at and relate to and know that they're not alone, and I think sharing those stories and those individual moments of triumph and struggle helps other people know that they're not suffering through those moments of triumph and struggle like in a vacuum. They have other people that they can reach out to and feel comfortable going to, and that's the kind of community that I want to cultivate. So Bodhi and Tom, thank you for having me, and congrats on season 2. Cheers for season 3. Congrats on kicking cancer. Congrats on kicking cancer's ass twice. Holy shit, that's amazing.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. It's what I do. I wake up and I piss greatness. That's what I say. No, like I said, yeah, it's just been amazing, and I'm so stoked. Me and Tom have been hyped about this podcast for a couple of weeks now, and just so thank you for everything. And I'll quickly, what if you can manage it? Would you like to plug some of your stuff? Go for it.
I can. Yes,
plug all your stuff.
I can clean up very quickly. Hi, everyone. I'm Amber, also known as the SpaceJamber online. You can find me at the SpaceJamber on Twitter. I call myself the TTRPG Swiss Army knife because I do fucking everything. I edit, I write, I stream, I podcast, obviously. I can graphic design. I run games. So if you need anything, literally hit me up. You can find me at https:// spacejamber.cool is my website where you can find all of my stuff. It is pink. Listen, branding is very important. So pink isn't even my favorite color, actually. My favorite color is teal. But but yeah, so Tom, Bodhi, thank you so much for the past hour. This has been wonderful and a lovely way to kick off the day before Christmas. So
not a problem. It's been our absolute pleasure to have you on. And one last time for us here at Homie and the Dude for season 2. Thank you everyone for joining us along this adventure this year. It's been one of ups and downs for Tom and I, one where we've had sponsors and started new things and created NPCs for you guys and releasing supplements, and we're finally hitting our groove here at Homie and the Dude, and we're finally finding our niche and finding our rhythm. So thank you all for supporting us while we've been doing that, and we hope that season 3 is gonna blow your fucking socks off, because boy do we have some shit in the pipeline that we're excited to bring to the community and to you guys. And furthermore, we hope that the supplements that we're bringing you guys, the NPCs, the unarmed combat evolved coming out tomorrow, and some other stuff that we're bringing out. We hope for you new DMs and any old DMs that are using our stuff, we hope it helps. We just love making it for you guys. So thanks for being there, and thanks for clicking on our shit. God, another year, another time, and follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube, and our website is homieandthedude.com. NPCs, magical items, fathers and sons, who knows what's yet to come. But thank you all for joining us on this amazing journey this year. And Amber, thank you for being the most amazing guest.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Amber.
Thank you all so much. Gross. I always end up crying on this shit. That's
And do you know what? We kind of do too as well. But it's whether it's during or after, Tom and I always share a little moment. So thank you so much. Right.
Yes.
We'll see you guys next year.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching Homie and the Dude today. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit us with the Holy Trinity. Go follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and like the Facebook. It's the best way that you can help us out at the moment. Hope you have an awesome day. Thanks for watching, guys.